come for these questions are going to be, so it's going to be extremely important for us to lead our life in a very peaceful and a calm manner. Because when we talk about Vaikuntha, because this particular chapter number 9 that we are going to see later on, talks about Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means Vaikuntha. Kunta means anxiety. Vaikuntha means the place without anxiety. In this material world, we have anxiety for everything. We have anxiety when the mobile phone doesn't work. We have anxiety when our TV doesn't work. We have anxiety when we go late to the office. When we have anxiety when there's more salt that is added to the sambar. We have anxiety when the children don't score good marks. We have anxiety of everything. There's no day when we say that we are completely free. That is why Krishna consciousness is so important, that the anxiety, whether the anxiety is going to disappear or not, that whether the problem is going to disappear or not, that we don't know, but the anxiety is definitely going to disappear. Why? Because fearlessness. Because Krishna is going to give you the assurance that don't worry, I am there. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vrija aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha ikshami masucha. So he gives that kind of assurance that don't worry. Ananyas chintayanto ma he janaha paryupasate teshan nityabhyuktanam yogakshemam mahamyaham. He says, just to be focused, you do your duty, because doing the duty is very important. The whole Bhagavad Gita stresses to Arjuna that Arjuna, you have to do your duty. If Krishna, we know that Krishna is all powerful, but did Krishna say, I will fight for you? In fact, on the contrary, Krishna said, I'm not going to fight for you. All I will do is, since you chose me to be your friend, I will just accompany you. I will give you advice now and there. So as Paramatma actually, gives us time and again, he will tell you, sometimes he will warn you. Sometimes he will say, okay, go ahead. So he will keep telling you. So that is why we have to ensure that the curtain between the Supreme Lord and us is completely moved. We have to see, when the curtain is there, we cannot see the deity on the other side, right? So we have to ensure that this particular curtain is removed so that we can see the deity clearly. Why are we wearing glasses? Now, if I'm removing a glass, I cannot see anything, believe me or not, right? So we have to go to Hemavati Mataji's clinic and find out if some new specs can be given. I cannot see. Similarly, when we have to put the specs on, we are able to have a better clarity and better vision. So similarly, we need to have that. This Krishna consciousness is just about, having a better clarity and a better clear outlook in our life so that we can lead our life in a more better manner. And at the same time, even with all the problems, we can render devotional service in a very beautiful way. So chapter 8, the questions of King Parikshit, it talks about how did Narada Muni, does the preaching exploits, in the sense, to whom did Narada preach and how did Narada preach on the qualities of the Lord. So that is one of the questions. Then he talks about glories of Harikatha. How does Harikatha purify our heart? How does this happen? Then what is the link? What is the relationship between the Lord and Jiva? That beautiful relationship is a question. Then he talks about Kala, Karma, and the other topics. So this is again the questions into questions, answer into answer. So that is how this whole Srimad Bhagavatam is structured. So now let us get into the main aspect of chapter 9. So this chapter 9 is titled Citing the Lord's. It talks about citing the Lord's version. Okay, so 2.9.1 to 2.93 talks about answers to Parishad Maharaj's question about Jiva and having the material body, which is again answer to 2.8.7, where we say that due to the curtain, the Maya curtain, the soul feels the connection with the body. The soul feels that I am this body, because right from the time when we come to Krishna consciousness, one of the important things that is being reiterated again and again is that we are not this body, we are the spirit soul. So here the relationship between the jiva of the body is actually, it is unreal, right? It is unreal because of the Maya factor that is there. Okay. So here, because the jiva is impacted by this Maya, what happens is he has to completely move around the 8.4 million different species of life, and he keeps enjoying the different types of gunas that he acquires, and he thinks that I, me, and myself. I, me, myself concept is there. It's ingrained because of the poor fund of knowledge. Then we are actually the spirit souls, and we are actually engaged into the highly complex machine And which is this highly complex machine? The highly complex machine is the human body. So one has to understand the difference between body and the soul, between matter and the spirit. And this is actually the first step, of the beginning of our spiritual life. Then 2.93 talks about how the soul can be free from these misconceptions. And again, Sukadeva Goswami talks about when the jiva is going to be in touch with the Lord through the process of bhakti, all these misconceptions are moved out. The misconceptions of I and mine is completely moved out. So here, the misconceptions of I and mine is is actually very prevalent in this material world. So in the lower state of conception, as I told you, there are two conceptions here. One is the I conception and one is the mind conception. So before I get into the details of this, have we ever thought, when we were young, the teacher will ask you, please explain your body parts, right? He said, this is my hand, right? This is my head. This is my ears. These are my legs. This is my nose. So this is mine. Who's that mine? Have you ever thought about it? When we were young, we didn't really apply our mind probably. So after we came into Krishna consciousness, we are actually trying to give a definition of that mind, because the mind that which I've spoken is the Atma. But here, the mind, the I and the mind refers to the materialistic tendency that is being brought about here. So these two conceptions of I and mind, okay, talks about, there are two gradations here. The lower level gradation is the mind factor. The higher level of misconception is the I factor, right? The mind factor is generally prevalent among the animals. If you see, it's very funny to note. It's crude as well. So if you see where we are today in this country, there are a lot of cats. Cats are there. You might be wondering, oh, these cats are there. But believe me or not, every cat community has a territory. No cat from another street can enter into the street. If you are in street number 24, the cat of street number 23 cannot enter into this cat of the territory of the cats who are in 24, because of the mind concept. Understand this very carefully. So what happens? This animalistic tendency applies to cats, dogs, and sometimes this applies to the human aspect as well. So this is considered to be a lower gradation. When I say that, what does it mean? It says, this is my body. This is my house. This is my family. This is my caste. This is my nation. This is my country. This is my mobile phone. This is my spectacles. So this mind factor is considered to be a lower gradation. And now what happens? The person slowly, he improves. He moves from the mind gradation to the I gradation. Then what happens? I am this. I am that. This is all mine. This is all I based. So I based is the next gradation. Both I and this mind have to remove. So this comes through the practice of understanding the true, what is the important, what is our constitutional position. We are actually part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. That is something that we have to understand. Bhoktaram Yagnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So we are not this owner. Suppose if you are going to be in a rented apartment, it's a very famous example that most of the preachers give. You are in a rented apartment, and you are staying in the rented apartment for say 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. At the end of the 5th year, you suddenly decide, early in the morning, you get a nice dream that this particular flat belongs to you. You say, this is my flat now. So, and you are going to make this full publicity that this flat is mine. So if this news go to the owner, what will happen? The owner will be very happy. Oh, this person has been giving me rent for the last 5 years, and now he claims ownership. What will he do? Immediately he will send you a notice saying that we heard that you are actually making this publicity that the house is yours, whereas the house is mine. Please vacate immediately. So we are actually claiming the ownership of those things which actually do not belong to us. So that point is being reiterated here very nicely. Then 2.9.4 to 2.9.8 talks about the Lord Brahma. Brahmaji is actually setting a platform for a beautiful conversation that is actually happening. So what is this conversation? The conversation, again, it talks about how he actually, the creative aspect of it. So Brahmaji actually was sitting on the lotus flower, and he was doing a very he was wondering where to start with and where to end. So he was not sure about where he is and things like that, and he actually tries to find out where the source. And that point of time, he hears some Vani says, tapa, tapa. Tapa, tapa means do penance, do penance. And when he started doing this penance for thousands of years, by concentrating his mind and the pranas and the senses, then he found the solution. And what was the solution? He actually understood. He had the darshan of the Vaikunta, which is actually what we are supposed to be discussing today. You know, Lord Brahma's darshan of the Vaikunta. We have already saw Vaikunta means the place where there is no anxiety. So 2.9.9 and 2.9.10 talks about how beautiful this Vaikunta. I'm just reminded of this beautiful Leela of Sudama and Krishna, when Sudama actually goes from Sudama Puri to Dwaraka to meet Dwaraka, right? Yeah, Dwaraka to meet Krishna. He was thinking about what kind of reception he will get from Krishna, how Krishna will treat him, whether Krishna will remember him. And he gets into Dwaraka. That place is so opulent. You know, that's a beautiful description about how opulent Dwaraka is, because Krishna is there. Like how in Bhagavad Gita, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatta Partho Dhanuddhara, Tatra Shri Vijayarbhuti, Dhruvani Tiritir Matir Mama. So similarly, Krishna is full of opulence because he's Shriyapati, right? We have seen that sloka. So this Shriyapati's place is full of opulence. So similarly, this Vaikunta is also full of opulence, is full of beauty. So this Vaikunta, what is this Vaikunta? This Vaikunta is basically, it's a supreme planet. It's a supreme planet, and it is adored. The jewels of Vaikunta are these self-realized souls, right? You can wear a nice necklace. Mataji's always, whenever they always look at one thing very, very carefully. They look at when the gold price is fluctuating. The minute there's a reduction in the gold price, immediately they will run to Joy Alucas, or they will run to Malabar Gold, their favorite shopping points, and they will immediately buy. But just tell me, is it good for the Matajis just only to wear a plain gold necklace, or is it very nice to have some rubies and emeralds and some diamonds put on the necklace? Which looks better? The second one, right? So similarly, if you look at Vaikunta, the place where there is no anxiety, this beautiful necklace of Vaikunta is adored by self-realized persons, and it is free of any kind of suffering. There is no mosquito bite, there is no pollution, there is no noise, there is nothing. It's very, very serene. It's very, very beautiful. A lot of times from the city life, we want to take a holiday and go to some very, very nice hill station, right? So what do we observe in the hill station? One thing that comes to my mind is the beautiful gardens, whether you talk about Ooty or Kodaikanal or some other nice place. If you go, there's full of flowers, full of gardens, has nice cool breeze hitting your face, all these things. So what do you feel? Oh, we should be in this place forever. After 10 days, you'll get bored of it. You'll say, oh, let me go back to the city. I'm happy with this kind of a nonsensical life, because our body and the mind is so conditioned. We don't even want to accept something which is very serene and very, very beautiful. So this suffering is not there in Vaikunta. Okay. And there's no confusion. In city life, in this material life, everything, we have confusion in everything, right? We don't know whether we'll get the vaccination today, whether we'll get the vaccination tomorrow. If the vaccination is actually administered, will I get fever? If I get fever, will the fever come with headache? If I get the headache, whether should I take paracetamol? If I take paracetamol, will I get dysentery? If I get dysentery, should I take this medicine? This confusion is always there in the mind. Vaikunta doesn't have this kind of a confusion. And the most important thing is there is absolutely no fear in Vaikunta. And there's no fear of any kind of offenses. So that is the important thing. Then there is no influence of the three modes of the material nature. There is no influence of time. We need not look at the watch every time. Now we are all looking at the watch. When this Prabhuji is going to finish the lecture, I'll finish the lecture in the next 2 minutes. So there is no need to have watch, because it is actually eternal in nature. It is devoid of any kind of time. So everything is happy. We can get up anytime. We can cook anytime. Everybody is very, very happy. Your Prabhuji will not say, make the sambar, make the upma, make the khichdi, fast. I have to go to the office. Why are you late? Nothing like that. Nothing, no anxiety at all. That is why we have to go to Vaikunta. For that, we have to start working from today itself, right? So this Lord in Vaikuntha is worshipped by one and all. There is no envy. So the six anarthas that are there is not there. So now in 2.11 to 2.11 and 12, so he sees who are the beautiful inhabitants of this Vaikuntha, and this is being described to Brahmaji. He says the people of Vaikuntha are glowing. There's no need to wear any kind of fair and lovely. We all try to make our face very beautiful, right? What do? Even if we have a slightly brown color, we want to make it fair color. So what do? We go to the market to buy fair and lovely. We try to put nice things. We apply paint, and we think. And first we'll go and stand in front of the mirror. The mirror should say, yes, you look very, very effulgent. Then you go to your, the Prabhujis will go to the Matajis will go to the Prabhujis. How do I look? Do I look nice? Do I look beautiful? Whether the Prabhuji looks actually beautiful or smart or handsome, the Matajis have to say, yes, you look very, very smart. So that is the kind of deception that we have this material life. But whereas in Vaikuntha, there's nothing. Everybody is naturally glowing. They are all in sky blue complexions. They are dressed in yellow garments. They are very youthful. Nava Yavana, like how when Krishna gave the Bhagavad Gita, he was about 90 years old. But was he wearing a white beard and giving the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna in 45 minutes? No, he was looking young because Krishna is Nava Yavana. So everybody in Vaikuntha is youthful. They are effulgent. They are having a very pleasing manner. When we talk about, they say, no, suppose if somebody is having a very beautiful temperament, they say, are you a Vaikuntha Vasi? They'll be very soft and sweet. No, the way they speak, you have to actually hear, what is this? What is this Prabhuji saying? What is this Mataji saying? Because they have so much of contentment. They have so much of self-realization. They actually are very, very kind in the way they are talking. So that is one of the quality of Vaikuntha. Then they wear nice earrings. They wear nice crowns. They wear nice garlands. So this is again beautifully narrated. Then comes 2.9.13 to 17. So what are the beautiful activities? One of the most beautiful activity that is mentioned here is that Mother Lakshmi is actually massaging the lotus feet of Narayana. And not only that, she's also singing the glories of Lord Narayana. And then the inhabitants of Vaikuntha, they're actually traveling in their airplanes with their consorts, and this looks like the clouds are actually dispersed everywhere with a flashing light. So just imagine that kind of a very beautiful, serenic, view in front of you. So you'll feel very, very happy and contented. Then, of course, there are a lot of great devotees like Sunanda, Nanda, Prabhala, then Arhana. So Sri Sunanda is basically the younger brother of Nanda Maharaj. So all these great personalities are there. And they are all the associates and servitors of Lord Krishna. So this is basically what gets covered in 2.9.15. I'm sorry, I spoke so many things except this particular verse that was given to me. But I thought it is important for us to, because just reading this verse standalone, it might be a bit difficult to comprehend. So thank you so much for your patient hearing. Grindraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Itai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So if there are any questions and if I'm able to answer, I will answer. Otherwise, we have some great devotees amongst us. So they will be in a position to answer. So if there's anything, we can spend the next 1 or 2 minutes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Dandar Pranams. Wonderfully explained the whole second canto. So we had a good recap. So it was really nice. A lot of important points covered, especially about how if you perform devotional service to Vasudeva, how you will be relieved from anxiety and how you will be experiencing the happiness within. So that's a very important point. And also today's darshan of Vaikuntha very beautifully explained. You inspired many people to somehow go there by graphically describing the problems.
Even I was also inspired when you gave me the opportunity. I was also inspired, and then only I came to know how fallen I am.
Very wonderful, Prabhu. Today we are seeing this chief followers, like you explained, Sunanda, Nanda. So Nanda Maharaj we know, Sunanda we know, younger brother. If you know about the other two personalities,
I did lot of research. I couldn't get the answers for that. If somebody else knows, please share. I would. This in fact, this was my question also, because I was trying to understand who are the other two personalities, but I couldn't find the answer. So if somebody knows, maybe Sudarshan Vaste Bro, if you know the answer, you can please enlighten us, or if any other devotee knows about it, please let us know. I could only figure out two personalities. Of course, here if you go through the various sloka, there are multiple personalities, but in 2.9.15 they are referring to these four personalities basically.
Yes, because it is written as chief followers. That means they are very important people.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
anyway,
I
Prabhu,
couldn't
we will
find the
also
answer
check
for that.
actually, or we will also ask refer to other. If some other devotees know, they can also share. Sudarshan Vastev Prabhu, if you know also you can share. So
because Sudarshan Vastev Prabhuji, he has got the deep sense of knowledge on all these intricate aspects. I've always observed that.
yes. Very true. Very true.
Prabhu, I have heard and understood that they are very close associates and always with Lord.
Okay.
Specific duties I am not aware, Prabhu. But
Okay. Sure.
Somewhere in past I have heard about them, read about them.
Some references like where they are referred, like we know, like Nanda Maharaj and all references.
General reading, Prabhu, general reading.
Is there any scripture referring to these two personalities?
Not now, because I have not seen anything from the Parampara. So we need to ask someone who is very deep, has got very deep knowledge in Puranas, Prabhu. There will be explanation there only. Skanda Purana.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. What was the question regarding that? Can you please tell again?
So there are four personalities. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhuji, please.
Please, Prabhuji, please.
Yeah. So today's Prabhuji's class related to the Vaikuntha darshan of Lord Brahma. Brahma is able to envision the chief followers were serving the Lord, and their names are given as Sunanda, Nanda. Prabhuji explained that Nanda refers to Nanda Maharaj, and Sunanda refers to her brother. And there are also two more personalities in the verse, which is referring to Prabala and Arhana. And since they are mentioned as chief followers, that means they are very important personalities because they are very close associate to the Lord. So I was asking the question that whether any references is there about these two personalities because they are the chief followers. So like in any other scripture, their pastime or their personalities is described like that.
Prabhuji, to my remembrance, because second canto we read long time back, but what I remember is, see, in Vaikuntha we say there are 7 gates, right?
Yes.
So each of the gate will have two gatekeepers.
Yeah, Jaya, Vijaya, like that.
So yeah, Jaya and Vijaya are the innermost. So like that, there are 2 gatekeepers for every gate. So I think they are one of the gatekeepers.
So then in that case, this Sunanda Nanda is not referring to Nanda Maharaj then, maybe, because if we say as gatekeepers, because this Nanda Maharaj and all will be within the Golok, directly associated with Krishna. So this may be then referring to, and when we say served by his chief followers, how they will be as gatekeepers, or I don't like.
They are very close, Prabhu. They stay very close to Lord. So,
yeah, because they can be sometimes gatekeepers can also sit with the Lord because they are so close. That's why they are doing the gatekeeping facility. But we can find out, Prabhuji. But what I shared was what I remembered. But we can definitely find out.
Prabhuji, about this the name Sunanda also, like there are personalities, more than one personality with the same name, Prabhu. Like if you Kalanemi, we find it in Ramayana as well as in Bhagavata. During Mahabali's war.
Okay.
So that also we may confirm that is the same as you expressed the concern that Nanda Maharaj brothers in Goloka Vrindavan, not in Vaikunta. There are personalities the same name, more than one personality with the same name. So
anyway, if we get information, it's okay, Prabhu. Yeah.
I will also do
more than that, I think what Prabhu's message is more important.
Yes,
what our Prabhu shared today, that's the message. It's not very important like what I was asking, but just for knowing, if somebody else is asked us, we should be able to. That's the reason I was. Prabhu, anyway, thank you very much, Prabhu. The message was very crystal clear, and the whole second canto very beautifully covered with all the important points given to inspire us in Krishna consciousness. So really
thanks
appreciate.
To Prabhuji, thanks to Gauranga Darshan Prabhuji and also Manoharini Subhadra. So
where Wherever we go, our notes helps, Prabhu, from school.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Shyam Sundari Mataji's
Yeah, Mataji has raised her hand. Please, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I wanted to say that, Prabhuji, are you talking about Sananda and Nandana? What are the names are you referring?
The other two names, Mataji.
Sunanda, Nanda, Prabala, and Arhana.
So actually here it is mentioned that Sri Nanda Maharaj had two elder brothers, Upananda and Abhinanda, and two younger brothers, Sananda and Nandana.
Then this refers to some other personalities, I think. Because Sunanda.
So Sananda is also called Sunanda. His bodily complexion is pale, whitish, yellow, and his garments are black.
No,
So
Sananda is also called Sunanda. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the names, Mataji, you said? Can you repeat again?
Prabhuji, it's written, Sri Nanda Maharaj had two elder brothers, that is Upananda and Abhinanda, and younger brothers Sananda and Nandana.
Okay. And Sanandana is also called as Sunanda.
Yeah, Sunanda.
Maybe the two Prabhuji referred already. It's Nanda Maharaj and Sunanda, and these two personalities, Prabala and Arhana, is not known. No problem. So, thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much for the reference.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
So, we request other devotees. You have any questions? You have any queries? Prabhuji is available. Prabhuji has done a very deep study in second canto for giving this class. So, you can ask anything, whatever we've gone through these days. Anything is there, please, you are welcome to ask them. Hare Krishna.
So thank you very much. If there are no questions, so we will conclude here.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
again.
Prabhuji, for giving me
Hare
the
Krishna.
opportunity. Thank you so much.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Arjun Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So, officially, vote of thanks, Sudarshan Prabhu, you can do.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Manjusham Prabhu, for giving me the opportunity to convey our gratitude to Arjun Prabhu on behalf of all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Arjun Prabhu, we would like to express our gratitude to you by chanting Hare Krishna mantra 3 times so that you may be able to enlighten us with more and more wonderful, deep, comprehensive, meticulous, very detailed classes.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gauranga Darshan Prabhuji ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Prabhupada ki jai.